Hi there, my name is Sana Ahmed, and I'm the founder of the Product Marketing Institute. I have also started a brand new publication called the Product Marketing Magazine, and I'm also the host of the Product Marketing Podcast. I have I interview thought leaders in the tech industry to be able to get their perspective of product marketing and how they're using it to drive innovation in the technology space. And I will introduce um, my guest shortly. I just want to give you a quick introduction, a background on myself. So the reason why I started the Product Marketing Magazine and the Product Marketing Podcast is because I've been working in technology for over 15 years now. And as a result, what I've noticed is that product marketing is such a critical part of the agile development process where you have so many people that are working hard to develop a product, from the product managers, product strategists to the engineers who are working day and night to create wonderful digital products for us. I think what happens from there is that we have to figure out how do we take products to market in a way that the customers can understand. And technology is just such an interesting field, especially in the digital transformation era, because we are moving at such a rapid pace that we are developing products so fast that it's very hard for the common public to be able to keep up with what it is that's going on and how we are iterating. And so product marketing has its nuances and its very specific process to be able to take those wonderful products that are constantly being developed and figuring out ways to communicate it. And so what I do with each of my guests is be able to shine the spotlight on them and help them help the audience understand what it is that they're doing and see how everything that they're doing is so critical to the product marketing launch as well. And from there, I'm going to pause and I want to introduce Martin. Martin, I'd love for you to give an introduction on yourself, a wonderful background, and share with the audience what it is that you've done these past 20 years and what are you working on right now as well.
Thank you, Sana. Uh, Basically, my name is Martin Vivas. I am the director of the Innovation Labs in Technicis, a company who build software for digital banks, actually banking core and digital omnichannel platforms. Uh, my day by day, my job is regarding new business development and innovation. Uh, I try to work with the banks, try to build innovation labs or co-innovation labs, trying to build up the product from the scratch. We do a lot of, we use a lot of tools of digital marketing, trying to validate the concepts. The minimum viable product, it's a experiment, or it's not a tiny product. Basically, we use the MVPs to a proof of concept, trying to validate several concepts and trying to modulate the evolution of the product with the customer in the center, trying to do or try to build more rich experiences for the customers. In that terms, the customers are final customers of the digital banks in Latin America. We have 50 customers, banks try to build a digital experience nowadays, and my team and I try to work together with the banks using design sprint or design thinking or lean methodologies to validate all the concepts necessary to evolve a product. As you know, we try to work with the bank to build the concept and evolve the MVP to the product, but we do not intervene in the launch of that product. And the digital marketing for me, basically, it's a tool to validate the concepts.
That's a really great background. Thank you. I want to dig a little bit deeper into like a use case with what you're doing with the digital banks. Like if you can maybe talk about a specific feature that you worked on with the bank and how you um, did the whole validation process and then up until development. Because one of the things that I want to share with the audience is that a lot of people think that product marketing is just this process that happens separately from the product development process. But anyone that's very familiar with the agile development process knows that product marketing really begins from the beginning of the product development, which is you start with your research and your validation. And I know I had a chance to talk to you a little bit earlier and you talked about that whole process. I'd love for you to maybe just zoom in on one important aspect, one important use case, and just be able to maybe walk the audience through what that experience looks like for you and how you also try to help the customers understand what exactly is they need, right? Because sometimes they don't know and you have to
Yeah.
figure it out. You have to build that.
Uh, uh, so many times we start with the concept, working with the banks, and they are trying to solve in the last time I mentioned you. We start trying to solve the availability of the cash, the money in cash in Latin America, and for the bank, that's is important. But we run a process with customers trying to do user research in regarding that problem, and the outcome was they don't want the cash. They need it, but they don't want it, and that difference. In a few days, the bank figure out that they don't are they don't build they don't need to build. Sorry, my English is not good. They don't need to build
You're doing
that
great.
that kind of solution, and we do a pivot in terms of build a different solution, the contactless digital payment solution, and that was really amazing because we have a lot of potential customers trying to understand or trying to ask to the banks a different approach, and the banks trying to solve the day by day initiative or day by day problems, not and the customers do the banks to aim to the future, basically, and or see a different digital vision of the future, and that was amazing. And all of that is because we use a process, an entire process of validation, and we try to build the process with the customers in the center, and that's its product marketing for us, aiming to modulate the experience from the scratch with the customers, and trying to do a little experiments in a very fast iteration, trying to do the best for the banks and for the final customers.
I think that's really great. I want to zoom in a little bit more on like one sort of validation process that you took to try to figure out what it is that the customers want. Because what ends up being tricky as we're trying to move so fast and trying to develop a product so fast, the question becomes like, okay, what is it that the customer wants? And then how do we ask the customers what it is that they want? And we have all these different ways of doing it. There's like digital tools, there's surveys. Sometimes you can go and be able to ask them. And
Yes.
and then it's like once you build it too, that's a whole separate process of trying to validate like a very built solution. So can you talk about like the pre-building validation and then the post-building validation of how you go to the customers to try to understand, number one, what is it that you want, so we could try to figure out what it is that you build, and then number two, okay, we built it, now we need to see like how well you're adapting to it. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yes. The process, we run several processes in the parallel way. Basically, we grab the numbers and the try to understand the objectives of the business of the bank, basically, to not get out of the universe of customers. Uh, Basically, trying to build value, but in their universe of the customers. And the second line, it's try to understand the concerns and the goals and the motivations of their customers regarding the process. But basically the 5 whys. Uh, you need this, but why? And try to run a process with the customers and the stakeholders, not only the customers, to understand the fears and the motivations behind uh, they first concern, basically. And we run a process, try to build an entire solution with only 3 goals or 3 objectives, main objectives, and that rules don't have features. We describe a solution, a possible solution, but without features, and try to go to a point of the center of the feature or the solution very slow. And we try to transform all the business hypotheses in the validated insights. And we run several tools, interviews, user research, quantitative, shadow, trying to share the screens with the customers and try to understand why the customer or the user click in that part, or all the entire process. It's very structured, but in several lines in parallel, trying to stitch and the best solution for them. And we try to all the time try to get reach the customers in different scenarios, or like this in video calls, or in the offices, or visit them in the workspace area, trying to understand not only the use, the situation or the ecosystem in that they use the solution. Try to understand the urgencies, or the risk, or the protocols the people follow to get the solution. And in that entire process, we run several experiments to validate step by step all the time. And at the same time, we build the value proposition. We build the personas, the profiling. We build the channels of communication with that users, and we build the tone of the communication, the personality of the product. And when we build the personality, the value proposition, the package, the design principles of the entire solution, we we are building the product market fit, or the approach to the product market fit. And that is the day by day job. Sorry, I need a lot of words to explain because the English is hard to me,
No,
but
no worries. You're doing
I,
great. You're
I think,
basically talking about so many different layers. There's things from like qualitative research where you're going directly to the users. There's quantitative research where there's instrumentation that's built on the platform,
yes,
where you're able to get maybe see how they're behaving. You mentioned things like design thinking. So you're literally would be mapping on a screen, like trying to help a user get from point A to point B. There's just so many different levels of it. And what you're trying to do is connect with each B2B like audience, which is each of your bankers and then their users as well. So there's two users. There's like the business users, which are the banks who want to make sure they have a digital banking application that their customers will use. And the second user is the the user itself of the application, which are the customers of the bank. And so it's interesting. What you're saying is very on point and accurate, that like you have to include the research with the B2B audience, the bankers, and the research with the B2C audience, because you can't build something that's completely separate from both of them. Like uh, the reason why you have to speak to the banking companies first is because I worked at PayPal, so I understand there's like laws, rules, and regulations. So you have to understand their use cases, and then from that like sort of like scope, the
in
frame,
all the teams, we have lawyers from
yeah,
the scratch. We have a lawyer, and we have a complaint
compliance,
people, compliance. Sorry,
yeah, no, that's okay,
I I have a customer care people
yeah.
in the team, and because we can build beautiful digital solutions, but we need a business behind, and that's the all the people can build nowadays beautiful digital solutions, but a few people can build a digital big business uh, successful solutions, and that is the different way. We need to do at the same time all the job.
So yeah, you make a good point. It's basically building a scalable solution from platform level down to like individual feature sets, which then creates a complete digital ecosystem, if you will, because you're not trying to solve just for one problem. You're trying to make sure that the experience that the user comes back to is also something in which they can take care of their other needs. So essentially it's like you're solving for one problem with a feature, but then when we talk about other metrics inside of product development, like retention and user growth, it's basically coming in with the product development mindset of scalability.
Yes,
So a very good point there.
and corporations like the banks have different areas competing to the other ones, and you can find 16 solutions who they don't know each other in the same banks, and that's its in terms of scalability, that is a main problem because they are trying to solve a problem like a silo, the compartment initiatives. And regarding the scalability, we have a very good platform, but you need to do the part of the business very well to scale up all because if not, you spend a lot of money and a lot of time for nothing.
That's a very good point that you mentioned, and this is why it's so fun for me to talk to like very experienced people like yourself, because the thing is, with a lot of digital products, you mentioned silos, and that is what happens. I've taken products to market that were softwares, and what I notice is the same thing you mentioned, is that there's one group of team that's working on one module in the platform, and then there's 5 other modules. And these teams, most of the time, because they're so busy, they're not doing it on purpose. Most of the time, they're just so busy that they are just in their world of trying to build their product and deliver it. But eventually, what needs to happen from a product strategy perspective is that each of these individual teams have to come together and see on many different levels, how can we present this experience in a way that's consistent, from like product development to like user flow, for example, right? How do some of these products relate to each other? How can we design that experience? And then all the way on the other side, right, the product marketing side, that ends up being a very interesting challenge for the product marketers to solve too, which is, how do we take all of these solutions and package it together? And none of these things can be done alone. The product marketer can't do it alone. The product managers can't do it alone, because if the solutions are so completely independent on the platform, and now the product marketer comes in and says like, oh, we'll package solutions A and C together, but on the platform, I'm coming in as a user and I can't even access those things, then that's not a real solution for the user, right? So it's just very interesting how we have to prioritize these conversations, right? It's like a roadmap in itself of, okay.
No, we tried to do top down. Basically, we start to work with the C levels to do the right priorities very fast and very earlier, and we try to involve the different teams of the bank, try to reunite all the initiatives, so all the efforts, to not do to don't duplicate the efforts of the bank regarding the digital solutions. But it's hard the day by day, but we have a very good opportunity in Latin America. We work with 50 digital banks in the from Canada to Argentina, not only Latin America, but we work with very concerned banks or corporations regarding the trying to do the best solution for their customers, because the not only the pandemic scenario, regarding to the future, you don't compare the banks with another banks. You compare the solution of the banks with the Netflix solution or Airbnb solution, and our customers know, basically.
That's all really good points. Thank you for sharing that. I have now the question for you, which is, let's talk about the feature solution that's already built, right? You did all the validation with the customers. You understood what they're looking for. You now have this real life solution that's inside the digital banking application. Now, what do you do to keep track to see how the banking users are now responding to the product feature set that you've created? And like, what is that process for you, like on the product development side?
Yes, no, we validate all the time. We have a user research department aiming to ensure that that correct approach of or correct evolution of the product. They do testing with users in the office. They analyze mixed panel experience of the aiming to try or trying to get all the numbers or all the hot spots in the experience.
So all the user
And
behaviors in the basically in the UI.
but quantity and quality all the time. We have very experienced guys working on that all the time, because no, if you are looking for validation, and you can find it, but if you are more looks for the anomalies or the twitch in the experiences, yeah, you can find a rich way to understand the why. It's an instant, but you know, for that that customers do that they do, and it's a little bit twitch like the Matrix cut. It's like a moment, but if you need to attend and you need to it's an instant. Sorry, I can
No,
I trying to
I
find the
understand.
words, but
Yeah.
it's attention, it's um, love for the customer. Basically,
Yeah.
you
So
need to love the customer.
basically what you're saying is it's like there's so many tools now for data instrumentation that's on the digital platform, and those
Mm-hmm.
tools, you have team members who are looking to see the user's behavior, where they're clicking, where they're going. And if you wanted, the beauty of the digital measuring tools is you're able to zoom in on a certain part of the user's journey, and you're able to see, like, okay, like you mentioned, if it's, why is this an anomaly? Like, maybe there's a complete drop off. Is it because there's a bug in the system? Or is it because maybe the user doesn't understand, like on
Or
the,
don't feel sure, don't
yeah.
feel
So it's, yeah, it's such a great way, like basically you showing the before and the after of the product development, and how you have to go through all this user validation to be able to make sure you're developing a product that's developed for the product market fit for the customer, and not something that's completely off to the side, coming from a different universe where it's like, where you say, like, I think this is what the user needs and therefore I'm going to build it. And then you find out after the build that the customer is just like, what are you doing? Like, this is not something I wanted at all, right? And so that's why it's so important to understand the product development process when you're taking any product to market, because it's not, for the, if we had a product marketer in this situation, let's pretend like I'm your product marketer. It's not something where you're just giving it to me and saying, here you go, we developed this because we felt like it, and you go figure it out. That's not how product marketing definitely should work at all. Unfortunately, I've been in situations where, because things are moving so fast, that there's not enough time to do the research validation. And unfortunately, you have product marketers who then are like, well, you have this complete product, like, go take it. You have to figure out who is the customer, who is the audience segment, and what the use case is, and try to figure out the product market fit there. So in that situation, it's very confusing for two parties. One, the product marketer, who's trying to figure out who is the customer and how am I taking this to market. And the second confusion is for the users, because you are not sure, even if you are taking this product, and I as a product marketer say, I think the user base is A and B and C. if I take it to them, I'm not completely 100% sure that it's for them. And it creates such a confusing customer journey. And so what I want to bring that attention to, like the B2B technology audience, is that how we need to avoid these situations, and particularly in situations where it's startups. Early on, I know you mentioned you work with venture capitalist firms, and you work with,
Yes.
was it the accelerators, right?
I was, yes.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've seen that process where so many people are skipping the steps because they're at a time crunch, and they're like, well, I built this product, I'm not sure why it's not succeeding. And I've seen this firsthand, like how when the validation step is not taken care of properly, and you try to
Yes.
take a product to market, you're not going to have the success. Even if it's like 50 to 80% success rate, you miss that whole experience because all the prep work beforehand just didn't happen. Do you have any experiences like that, like having in the past worked with like accelerators, any of these like founders, these startups where they kind of had these issues, and you had to come in and try to help them understand, what the steps they were missing?
All all of that.
All the time.
Yeah, but regarding entrepreneurs, you can find the guy who acts who build some solution for some guys very fast, and all the time you can see that guy trying to fit their solution in all the people, trying to prove like our XXL t-shirt, basically trying to fit to all the guys in the street the same solution, and they that kind of startup failed very fast. And
Yeah, one size
you
fits
can
all doesn't work.
in the opposite stream, you can find the customer centric tailor made solution. But when that guy finished to do the tailor-made solution and trying to find a second customers, they fail too, because they spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to build a tailor-made solution for one customer. And you the guy who succeed are in the middle of that, trying to aim a solution tailor-made with to a specific user or a specific need uh, for a market, not for one customer. Try to validate a solution, but who fit in several audiences, or with flexibility
So
to customize, basically.
that's such a good point. And this is where I think excellent product marketing comes in, which is like if you partner with the product management team early on, you can leverage the product marketing team to help you understand what all those different audience segments are. You make a good point. You can be one extreme or the other. There is no one size fits all solution. If you do that, then you're basically going in all these different directions, and you miss who your target customers are. But then on the other side, the other extreme is you build a very, very specific product, but only one audience segment has it. Maybe that audience segment is like maybe like 100 people, versus if you took into account like 3-4 different audience segments, maybe those 100 people could expand to like 10,000 people. And that's when you see like, okay, I have the demand and I have the volume of the demand from all those different audience segments. And after doing the specific user research for each of these audience segments, we are able to now go in and be able to develop a solution that we can actually make money off of. So this is really, really good. I really appreciate your perspective, because you've, as a product strategist, as product like management as well, that's basically what you're doing. And as someone who is a mentor and a guide for so many of the startups that work in accelerators, you've seen all these different scenarios, and you've seen.
Yes, and another, I, sorry, I remember another case scenario. Basically, that guy who built a correct solution, but they don't build the team to deliver that solution with recurrency. They do a right approach with the customers. They do right approach to build the product, but one shot or one time solution. They can't repeat the process to do delivery or the correct delivery or for that solution or the feasibility of that solution. And that is not a problem with the marketing, but it's a problem regarding the market.
That's such a good point, because one of the things I do, I actually teach people product marketing, especially in the tech space, because there's such a lack of like understanding of product development and product marketing. And the thing is that you have very specific people that are developing these things, but then you have so many cross teams, right? That are working with you and trying to figure out how to work with you and what are the goals. And the four goals that I look at from a product marketing perspective are awareness. Is the user aware of the product? Adoption. Can the user adopt the products? Have we made it, once we made them aware, is it easy enough for them to be able to adopt and keep using the feature? Then it's retention, which is what you're talking
Yes.
about, which is how do we keep getting the user to come back? So it's like we filled one need for them by creating this one feature solution, but are we creating a systematic solution where they come back to make sure that all of their needs, in this case for digital banking, are all of their needs taken care of?
You need to build a happy experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, if you need to low the cost to earn a customer, you need to build the tools for the actual customers recommend you or refer you to a new customer. And for that you need to build a happy experience, but you need to put available the tools to refer you with the new customers. And the regarding that, not the banks, the entire financial ecosystem forget about build the tools to give their customers or that customer to have a happy experience. Not all the customers, to recommend you with the new ones. And it's very simple, but it's very effective. But you need to care about the customer and detect that customer to have a happy experience with you. And you need to track the comportment. That's the experience, the evolution of the customer.
Yeah.
You need to interview them, or you need to do surveys to determine that behavior. Sorry, that behavior is consistent with a happy experience. Not all the behaviors are, and you need to detect the behavior to correspond with a happy experience. And then you need to build the tools for that customer to refer with the new ones.
Absolutely. And the last part I would say of this whole, from a product marketing perspective, is like growth is the thing
Yes.
the metric that comes after retention, which is, once you are seeing that the customers are coming back, how do we continue to grow that user base in that audience segment or that vertical, or have the ability to expand to other verticals and other user bases as well. So it's this gradual evolution of, you start them to be aware of the product, you get them to adopt, you make a happy customer experience by making sure you have absolute customer empathy. And then the last piece, which is having them keep growing that experience by having more users be able to come on. And that, I think, is the evolution for product development and product marketing, because those are shared metrics. I also want to say as well with both sides. One thing I want to end with, like a last question that I have for you is, when I was talking to you prior to this, you were saying that you're very heavily involved in the product development, the product strategy, product development validation process. And then when it's time to go to market, that's not something you're involved with, because you have to go back and then begin another project where you are
Mm-hmm.
scoping, iterating, validating, building out. In your experience, have you worked with any product marketers, or is there a product marketing team that you are handing off all this hard work that you're doing to? And how are you briefing them, if at all, so that they can do a good job to be able to take this product to market that you worked really hard to develop?
In former jobs, I have that experience, but in my actual job, we try to involve all the teams who run the product further from the scratch, and all the people of the banks who are the product owner or the marketing department or the product technology leaders are involved in the solution from the scratch, and they know very well the evolution, the entire evolution. In that case, they build with me and my team the product market fit from the zero moment, and they are the responsibles to evolve that care, that fit, and they try to evolve the relationship with the customers, doing the marketing in the channels or in the place who the customers are, not trying to build the new ones, the new Facebook or not that crappy intent. Sorry, but
Yeah, it's such a good point that you are going in being aware of your target audiences at the very beginning of your
hard.
development process versus trying to figure it out at the end. And that ensures the most success for the adoption and the retention of the product. And I just think that's so wonderful. From my experience with that is, once you are able to succeed with the awareness, adoption, and retention, as a product marketer, when you come in, then you have the luxury to see how many, then you start employing things like product growth strategies and product marketing strategies, where can I expand out to other audience segments that share these use cases, that share this basically customer experience. And then you capitalize on all the hard work that the product development team has done, and you're able to, in a very intelligent, strategic way, be able to expand that product market fit that you worked hard with your team early on, then into other teams. And that is the correct evolution of product development to expansion and growth. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Like,
Again,
you have so much experience, over 20 years of it, and within under an hour, basically, you shared with the audience how exactly you go about all the essentials of developing a very strong product market fit and then being able to launch that. And I just want to ask you if there's anything you want to add to end with. And I'm happy to take questions from the audience afterwards, if they want to maybe connect with you,
Yes,
or yeah, I'll be able to connect
please.
with you because you also do consulting as well. Is that correct?
Yes, I will glad to answer all the questions you send me. And basically, I am available for all the people to reach in LinkedIn or Twitter. Or basically, I try to help. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, my English is not good, but I have uh, several years of experience working with the Techstart team in Startup Week, and trying to uh, have the Startup Weekend experience 10 years ago in Latin America, or trying to evolve the Google developer uh, relationships in the communities from the scratch in Latin America, trying to help entrepreneurs in 16 countries in Latin America. And see, I travel along all Latin America with the people to support the communities, and I love that work, and I do pro bono all the time, that kind of initiatives. Actually, I am mentor in the Google for Startup Accelerator nowadays.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I'll make sure in the interview, when we send it out, that everyone has your LinkedIn contact as well. So if they want to tap into your expertise, they're able to do so. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this experience, and I look forward to staying connected with you. And I'm sure you'll have questions come through. And for the rest of the audience, you'll be able to catch this entire experience that we've had with Martin on the Product Marketing Magazine, and we will put it up on the Product Marketing podcast as well, so you can catch the audio or the video. And until next time, I will catch you soon. Thank you so much.